Hello, welcome back. Last time I learned some things about elevator paradox and couldn't quite get it done. I think I have what's going to turn into a solution now. I haven't stepped through every single part of it, but it seemed like I was on the right track, and I'm going to put the last two pieces in and probably have a solution. So last time what I did was I did this jar shuffle where I took like dry jar of this inside something, inside dry jar this, something something. I'm going to keep this here, I think. Maybe two of them? I think I want two of these. Alright, I'm just going to leave those there. The idea occurred to me that instead of doing all this at the top level, I might actually get more out of bringing the chests into each other a couple of levels deep and doing similar operations down in the cup in this room here. And playing around with that just now, it looks extremely promising. So yeah, simple shuffle, not a lot of steps to it. So what I have right here is access to both wet and dry, and a pit here. And let's see, there's some super neat stuff that I can do. I'm going to want a way to transfer that blower into... not here, the other one. Into here. Okay, and from where I am, without destroying this chest at this level, I can create... Alright, so I'm taking dry B into wet A, because I just have a wet-dry toggle here that's nice and easy. And then wrap that in another dry A. And this jar is now the means to... I got an idea. Let's put the blower right on top of... Well, actually, let's put the jar under the blower. That way I won't jump into it by accident until I'm ready to. And I have nice clean landing space here on both sides. That'll help. Okay, so that's my means to transport the blower from this chest to the other one. Or this room to the equivalent to the other one. Now what I need is the means to climb out of this pit, and I can create those right here, just like this. Once the blower is transferred, this will be a retrievable block. So will this. So will this. I think this is the potential to do a... No, it's not. I can't do this at the top level because I don't have access to water there without destroying the chest. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is climb out of this hole without leaving the blower down here. And the way I'm going to do that is to bring the blower into this jar and leave it there. Enter this jar. Bring this jar down into that pit. Enter empty-handed, take blower out. So that's my transfer, simplified, from what I did last time. From blower in room B to blower in room A. With blower in room A, I now have infinite blocks whenever I can enter chest A wet. And I have some jars stored away here. It looks like I only actually needed one. So one single jar down there would be enough to climb out. Whoops. So I can climb out myself now. And that's enough. Right, okay, so just that one jar was fine. Now, at the top level, I placed 2 jars of dry this room, which is currently completely empty. This is where I will stash the blower. I believe at this point I'm just exiting holding this chest. I didn't write any of this down. I'm just operating based on my instincts and memories. But I think I know what I'm doing. I did try an operation where I stuck that blower up on this shelf. I think that can be done later? Yes, and I think that's going to be important for what I'm doing here. I think I needed a third dry room A jar. Let's find out. So I'm going to bring this chest. Yeah, I can't do any jar shenanigans to do that. Alright, so I'm gonna bring this chest out, leaving all that work behind. But that work enables some cool things. So I want one of those at the top level. Wait, I can't have two in here, so this maybe won't work. Yes it will. Yes, it totally will. Check it. Here's how this works. Jar goes in here. I escape. This comes in there. So right, my mission is to stash that blower while also having a block that I can carry out with me. I'm not convinced I have that right now. Okay, so I can take this in here. Got a flooded version of that now. Let's jar out again and bring you along. This jar right here might have needed some more layers to it. I'm not sure yet. Maybe it doesn't. Okay, so what I have right now is the means to build up... Okay, so I want to bring this up to, let's say, here. I have the means to build a ladder of blocks as tall as I want, which is real neat. Why am I going around this way? The other way is quicker. Alright, here's a block. There was a thing that I did while I was working on this... okay, I don't want to accidentally go into that. I'm gonna stash you... here, I guess? Sure. There was a thing I did where I took one block into the chest, left it there, jarred out, took another block into that, and had 3 blocks so that I could do some stuff here. Looks like that little technique might be unnecessary. Okay, so I have 3 blocks now. Which means I can pull the blower out and stash it up here. Am I ready for that? No. I need one more block. I need one to actually take with me. Okay. One more block with me. So this one will be the object I carry out of this room. Yes, I agree with that. It looks like I only needed to put 2 in that pit because I'm going to stash that blower away in here. I think the puzzle's done. Blower stashed. That room is still accessible from the top level. I have a block. Wow! Okay, so all of my work was relevant here. This is spectacular. Just like all Ice Palace puzzles. Got a block here. Got a blower here. And I did it! Oh man! Clank! Fantastic! Alright, I'm happy about that. Elevator Diamond is done. Okay, so 2 left. Well Crystal, Elevator Crystal. They're both crystals which, as we know, are the hardest gemstones, and if that one took me that long, just think what the crystal would be like. So, I don't really want to work on Elevator Crystal right now. Let's switch to Well. Let's work on understanding what this is. Get a key out. The key is way up there. Entering this dry does nothing for me. This must be in the wet. Hold on, in the wet, don't I have a problem? Can I jump out of that well? No. So I need the block to come here and sit on the bucket so that I can get out. Okay, block must come out. Jars are involved. Double jar spots. Okay. This puzzle. I can get here and carry the block now. Okay, so what do I want here? Hold on, how do I think this block is going to come out? Doesn't it need to go... Yeah, okay, so block comes down here. When it's down there, I can carry the key all the way out. Plop it where it's going there. Come back in. Pick up the block. Put it in a jar that I've stashed down here. So that it ends up at the bottom. Jump out of that jar, take my key, and exit. So that's how the puzzle will end. Then I'll have the key here, I'll put down the key, come back in here, get the block that's now down at the bottom. Pull it out. Oh, this is all of this water is water. There's no disenchanting involved. So that means I could pull out the block now and escape the water. I don't think I have a reason to. It has to come out at some point, but like, I don't think there's any benefit to doing it now. Let's just check if there's any weirdness with that. So I get the block out of here. Pull it out, and I have it here, and I can escape with the chest. Yeah, okay, nothing weird about that. Sure. So... I worry this might be a binary counter based on my experience with it last time. There's a shuffle I need to do with the chest. Ooh, with the chest. Okay, so one thing I should definitely do before anything else is to have a spare jar of this room just so I can access that block someday later. Sure, so that's my jar for the block when I'm done with all of this. The rest of this can be done underwater. So now the idea is that I can jar this, put that jar up here. Jar this. That doesn't seem right. This is not just a series of jars that I want to do. Is it? Is it? No, I don't think so. Like, if I just do a series of jars, like 3 jars here, let's see what happens. So all 3 of those jars are up there. I still have 2 jar spots left, and I have... The fact that there's 2 jar spots is weird to me, so I'm using only 1 jar spot. So I pull this out, I leave it here, and I exit? Wait, 2 jar spots here. Where am I? Did I get lost? I did. Okay. Let's try that again. So I need that to get the jar up. I wanted to jump into more jars, I guess. So I'll embed a few times. Let's say 3. So I'm going to go down all 3 levels. Block will come along. No, it won't. No. Right now I need to go into 3 jars? Yeah, okay, I see what the problem's going to be. I think. So I'm using up all my jars. I'm setting 3 exit points right there, and that's not helping me. So I set the 1. I don't have a jar to carry up here now. But if I jar out here... Okay, so now I have a jar to carry up there. I can enter it to get the block, which I do want to do, I think. Yeah? Now, I'll jar out of here and be down on that ledge with nothing I can do. Seeing the 2 jar spots there marks that this was my entry into the chest. So I got the block up there. I can take it down here by 1 and move this jar, which is nothing special, up again. But again, the jar is nothing special. Oh geez, right, let's shuffle. Floor space. Well, now, hold on. Okay, so now I've created something here. If I were to jar out now and repeat what I did, I'll have to carry the block all the way back down. I'll do 3 again. I don't know what's the right number here because I barely understand what I'm doing. But let's try 3 and see what happens. Whoa. That's the, the handle of the jar goes behind that block, which is masked to look like the background. Okay, so what will happen when I do this? Presumably, basically nothing, right? So I want to keep doing this? I don't think I've ever gotten the block back up to this level. Let's see if doing things this way would make that possible. So I enter, I bring the block out. And what do? I jar? Maybe. Why would I do that, though? So I can bring the block up there. Okay. I think this will get me up another layer. I haven't quite synthesized, like, what it is that I'm doing yet. I'll jar. And end up someplace I can't use. Wait, I'm at the top level now. What happened to my jar that was up there? Did I exit without entering it or something? Okay, so clearly I need to synthesize this. Here's the jar up here. I can get the block back up there again. That's 2 levels up. 2 little jumps. Since I'm a little bit too tall, I can't just make that throw. That's kind of the point. And there's no way to make this jump, right? I'm sure I tried a bunch of times. And I'm sure it's impossible, and yet here I go trying again for some reason. Yeah, no, I know I cannot pick objects up like that, so... Okay, so I guess I didn't lose anything here. Let's understand the mechanism that gets the block up there. How few jars can it take? So if I pull you all the way down to the bottom right now... Okay, I'm gonna raise this block by 1. That's trivial. I take 1 single jar, I enter it here, and I pull the block out. Okay, block has been raised by 1. Okay, I'm gonna raise this block by 2. I take a top-level jar, I put it in a top-level... I leave it up here and put it in a top-level jar. And somehow that results in the block going up 2, doesn't it? By entering... two jars. That really doesn't accomplish anything. Why did I enter 2 jars? That just puts me here. At which point I need another jar down here. Can I use second jar spot? Yes. Okay, so I can use second jar spot to move it up here. And I can just do that. Okay. So inside that jar is 0 jar spots. Let's try doing that whole thing again, starting from... So leaving that jar in here. Act like this is just the empty initial room. But the difference is there's a jar up there. Alright, so jar is out. I put it here. I did that with 2 jars, and it was fine. So I'll do this with 2 jars. With the third one sneakily in there. Now I enter twice. Pull the block out this time. But if I jar out here... That means I can... not accomplish anything? Any exit here loses an item. Right, so I need a point at which I can exit with a block. I put the block in the jar, which is not useful, I think. No. And if I exit, I lose that jar. Okay, so what if I just enter the jar? If I exit, I lose that jar. That's the thing, and I can't carry a block while manufacturing a jar. What I want is to carry another jar into this jar. But I don't think there's a way to arrive here with that. And this jar itself isn't anything special. Okay, so I don't see the procedure yet. I've still accomplished nothing. If I can get the block up to that shelf, I'll call it a victory. If I can't, then I'll call it I need to come back and do more work later. Maybe what I wanted to do... No, I don't know. The 2 jar spots, I feel like I'm not using those to their fullest. I think there's also a silly thing I can do here where I could pull a trick that I did like in that one puzzle where I jar at a funny time and am able to toss this over that. Sure. But there's nothing particularly special about that. Let's not do it. I mean, I could do that with a jar, and, you know, shortcut like one step of this puzzle, maybe. Alright, so let's think about layers. So attempting to work backward. What I want is an entry into a jar here. And what else? While also inside a jar that's here? Because that's kind of how I climb the ladder down here, isn't it? Is that not the principle? So, using one jar spot, I put one jar there, I put another jar there. I mean, that's the principle of how I'm doing this here, but who knows if how I'm doing this here is what makes sense. So 2 entries on level 1. So let's call this level 0. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 up there, level 5 where the key is. So I exit, I leave the block, and I exit again. No I don't. No, I use the second jar spot on the exit where I... Okay. So second jar spot will somehow bootstrap me into a something. So I need the means to carry the block out of a jar in a room where I still have... Something looks wrong here. It is. Okay, I didn't enter both jars. So, really? That wasn't enough to go in the chest. So 2 jars, same level, embedded in each other. Come on now. Two jars same level embedded in each other. Enter both. Each one has a second jar spot available. So what I do here is I use the second jar spot in the innermost jar? Okay, so now I'm here with a jar and I can put it on the shelf. Right, okay. What I need to do now is to embed this room state in another one like it. How do I think that's gonna happen? I kinda don't. But maybe it will. Okay, embed this room state in another one like it. So that would mean this jar that I create here has to somehow end up on that shelf. I could see my way to doing that. I'm gonna leave this here and do 2 more embeds. So go into this twice. That doesn't work, does it? Probably not. I needed to pull that jar all the way out and leave it at the top level and use the double jar spot. Okay, well I can retrieve it? I don't think I can. So this is the one. I can retrieve it. Okay, this didn't have the result I wanted. I wanted this one level up from here. Using both jar spots, I think I can do that. Right, because I embedded 3 times. Did that help me? I don't think so. I need the means to carry another object out that's... Oh, embedded that many times? If you say so. So if I leave this here for a moment, I'm going to do 1 embed, then put both of these objects in here, I think? So let's see what that does to my downstream jar spots. So this one goes into that jar and stays down here. Okay, the special jar is in a spot where I'll fall into it when I do that. The unspecial jar is here. It is at this point that I want to embed this once more. Okay. So up here, I enter. Yeah, you're fine there. I enter. I exit with the block. I exit with the jar. Okay, I think this does it. This feels repeatable if I understand what I've done. Okay, so right now, this room in here has another jar in the same position. So I want to enter both. In the second one, take out a block. This doesn't seem right. Something's missing. No, it's not. So I enter, I block it out. And I jar out. That places a jar up here. So I do that entire process again, and theoretically get 2 jars up there, but don't I run out of jar spots when doing this? That's kind of what it feels like. There are 0 jar spots in that jar. So that needs to be the one that I carry the block out of. But I think that's a problem. So maybe that's a matter of depth of embedding. To get additional jar spots, I prepare by doing extra embeds up front. Let's find out. Let me find out if I end up in a situation where I'm out of jar spots and I really need one to make this happen. So to repeat this process. Jar 1, here. Jar 2, here. This is not right. Okay, yeah, so it's not so simple as just repeating that process. Is it? If I go in here and go in here... Yeah, I can't do anything. I used a valuable jar that I needed. Because I would lose that one if I... Okay, so... Alright, I can definitely see I'll run into a place where I don't have any extra jar spots, and... I need to take this with me for a moment. I'd like to see it happen though, but... I don't know if I'll understand how, so I put this here. There was a shuffle that let me do this. I took this jar, embedded that jar in it, clank, and I made another one. What? Okay, that might be right. It's probably not. No, this is the wrong jar. Okay, well, I don't know what happened. This is very confusing. Yep, alright. I'm set back to the beginning, eventually. Here we go, that's the beginning. Okay, well is weird. I think I'm gonna have to just, like, figure out the process on my own to this. It's cool. It's gonna feel good when I actually get it. Oh yeah, bringing this chest in there is of no interest whatsoever because the chest must be wet to operate. Okay, the chest never comes in here. It always stays where it is on the top level. So I don't need the extra jar up here because I'll always have the chest to retrieve the block. Okay, great. That's cool. Okay, so yeah, a very different jar puzzle. I kinda get the beginnings of what I'm trying to do. It's gonna get more complicated the higher up I get. Not, well, yes. What I worry is that my process will be lossy on the jar spots, and you know, like, I won't get an infinitely repeatable thing. I'll have just barely enough resources to get up here, and I have to understand how to use them well. Which is fine. 5 levels up, huh? Alright, well, I'll think on this and maybe come back with a solution at some point. At least I got a diamond today, and that's great. And there's still elevator crystal, which, you know, will happen when it happens. Like, I understand some of the motions of these two puzzles, but not how to put them together into a solution yet. Alright, we're getting there. I still have confidence that I can get these both done, and then we'll have everything, I think. Alright, I'll see you next time for something.